Age of Sigmar is getting a cleanup, and it's an interesting one because there's a bunch of models that are being retired. For example, the Celestar Ballista, of course, Lord Ordinator, and even Knight Azyros for the Stormcast Eternals. Judicators, Paladins, Liberators. What was initially the first range of Age of Sigmar is getting slowly apparently replaced. I guess it didn't take long for Age of Sigmar to have their own Primaris, which is kind of funny when you consider it took Primaris 7 editions until they came, and when it comes to Age of Sigmar, it took them 3? Doesn't matter. All the old models are going out, but that's not really it, because you have also Skaven models that are going out of style. The Rattling Gun, the Warp Fire Thrower, and others like the Storm Vermin or Clan Rats, which is the pretty interesting one. Even the Plague Priest is going out, and I'm pretty happy I have my own Plague Priest. Some Orcs are going too, like the Savage Orc Boys, those Savage Orc Boys, or Boar Boys, excuse me. You also have the Savage Orc Big Boss and the Warg Prophet, which makes sense in one way or another. There is things you can replace him with. But now, with the arrival of the Dakota, the Slaves of Darkness have finally found their definitive mortal followers. And unfortunately, this means a number of warbands that represent the wider worshippers of chaos in the mortal realms will be retiring. Yes, that means no more Splintered Fang, no more the Unmade, Iron Golems, Untamed Beast, Kagar's Ravagers, Spire Tyrants, Corvus Cabal, Cypher Lords, and Horns of Hashut, which in my opinion is a big mistake to retire these ones when they give chaos such a unique flavor on the tabletop. But what people really are upset about, and you might say is rightfully so, and it's an interesting case, is the retirement of the Beasts of Chaos, the Vanguard's Beasts of Chaos. The Beast of Chaos Beastlord, Ungros, Bestigors, Gors, Bulgors, their Endless Spell, their Hearthstone, Warhounds, Ogres, Gorgor, Psygor, Beastlord with paired Rippers, Beast of Chaos, the Doombull, the Jabberslit, the Chariot, the Centigors, the Cockatrice, really that's a big one for me, and the Shaggot. They are going out of Age of Sigmar. And you might say, are they just gutting the whole faction? For Skavens and Stormcast, it kind of makes sense because they're getting replaced with different models, newer models, whatever. But it's not really the extinction of the Beasts of Chaos, because they're leaving Warhammer Age of Sigmar to go into that marvelous place. Yes, the Beastmen are returning to their old feeding grounds in the world of legend and Warhammer the Old World. Now, you have to understand that Zangors and Slangors will remain followers of their patron deities, but the wild great phrase following Chaos Undivided will soon be repackaged and returned to terrorize the old world and its forests. Now, this is a big one, mainly because it represents something interesting. And that is, it represents a whole faction being gutted so they can be moved to Warhammer the Old World. Now, I guess many people would be upset about this because their whole faction is moved to a different setting. But the problem is that I think many people will be upset about it and will blame Warhammer the Old World for this, when in fact, it's not the setting's fault overall, it's Games Workshop's fault, always has been, for retiring these models. And I guess this is where the blame and frustration and anger and so on should be put upon the company that's retiring these models. Because it's understandable, it's kind of awful to have your whole faction being killed off so it can be moved to a different game. Then again, it's not killed off completely, you can still use it, and that's more than Bretonnia ever got or some other Warhammer Fantasy factions. So I would say the Beast of Chaos players have it a little bit better than former Warhammer Fantasy players. But still, I feel like this is a big mistake. In general, I feel everything is a big mistake. Not only for the Slaves of Darkness and their specific war bands, not only for the Beasts of Chaos, but for the Skavens, the Bone Splitters, and even the Stormcast Eternals. Because removing units, core units like these to replace them feels a little bit cheap. It feels like Games Workshop would just stop selling Firstborn completely just so you can buy their primary slop, and it's bad. Okay, there's no way to put this. It's bad for the community, it's bad for the game. And yeah, sure, Stormcast and Skavens are getting new stuff, but the other people are not. The Slaves of Darkness aren't getting anything new because they're going this whole Dakot whatever route while removing what makes the Slaves of Darkness feel special, in my opinion. And the Beast of Chaos players just have their stuff moved to a different game. Now, there's a simple solution for this, and it's a very honest solution, and it's one that wouldn't be that costly at all for Games Workshop, and that's just to package these models and give them square bases so they can be used in both settings. And yeah, this applies more to the Bone Splitters, the Skavens, and the, what are they called, Beasts of Chaos, and not to the Stormcast, but c'est la vie. What's important is that there is this option that exists and it's out there, and it wouldn't have bothered anybody. You can still play your Beasts of Chaos in any setting you like because they came with square and round bases, like some of their old models used to. Like, for example, the Skaven used to come that way. You could just play that. But Games Workshop decided to gut the factions rather than make sure to make them playable to more people. It sounds financially sound that you will try to get as much money as possible, spending as little as possible, while ensuring communities are happy. But we have to understand this is Games Workshop we're talking about, and Games Workshop isn't known for their best decisions. They're not as bad as Blizzard when it comes to their financial decisions, but they really seem to have an aversion to pleasing people and also making money at the same time. It's either or. And this type of mentality hurts the games. It hurts Age of Sigmar. It doesn't hurt Warhammer the Old World that much, but you have to consider a bunch of Age of Sigmar players and fans hate Warhammer the Old World, hate Warhammer Fantasy, hate what was before them. We're not going to get into the reasons and get political in here, but they hate that. And this is just another reason for them to act like petulant childs and wish that Warhammer the Old World to just burn up again and die. And the proper solution isn't to hate the setting of the old world, but to understand and drive that and guide that feeling towards Games Workshop and their bad decisions. Nevertheless, we'll see how this ends up. And this is the part where I ask for likes, comments, subscribes, and everything you can give. It helps the channel grow. Arrivederci.